Here we are again, together, being together in the universal family of God, blessed by the Spirit of our Heavenly Father, our divine parent, as family, sharing the Spirit. Oh, here we go. It's a spirit of love. And when we really want to know the will of God, we're ready for a commandment. And guess what the greatest commandment is? To love God with everything we've got. And yikes, when that starts to happen, oh my. And then there's another commandment that goes with it, is like it. And that's to love the neighbor as oneself. Now, why is the second commandment like the first commandment? Well, it's like it. Well, because it's a command of God. It's a command of the God who is love. And that love that is planted within us, the Spirit of God in each person, each one of us, a child of God. The ability that we have to love God is that spirit within, that capacity that's there. And it's that same capacity that we use when we give love to the other. I'll never forget this video from about a 6th grade or 5th grade science class. Okay, there we were, primary school, introduction to one-celled organisms. It was an amoeba or a paramecium, and there it was, black and white on the screen. And in the first scene, the scientist places a tiny food particle right in front of the amoeba. And what happens? The amoeba goes out and surrounds that food particle, and the next thing you know, that food particle is inside the amoeba. Well, you know, that love for the neighbor is a little bit like that amoeba, not to consume and thereby destroy in order to make one with oneself, but that love that reaches out, and we are to be one, and that love reaches out in care. So that is all right. We could go on about this. Another thing why excuse me, the ate a couple of almonds before I did this. Won't try that next time if I remember. No, this is not a dry cough. Okay, so the command to love the neighbor, okay, is like the command to love God, because the command to love God is to love with everything we've got, all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And if this command to love the neighbor comes from God, well, okay, we want to obey, we want to do the will with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. So we take that level of devotion to loving the neighbor. Not that we pretend that the neighbor is God, but we love the neighbor as much as ourselves, and we carry out the command with everything we've got. Yes, in balance, golden rule balance. Okay, now say a little bit more about this. Another reason why the command to love the neighbor is like the command to love God is that the Spirit of God is in that child, in that infinitely loved son or daughter, there within. So we serve God in the persons of those whom he indwells by his Spirit. We are serving God by loving the neighbor. That makes we're seeing the texture and the weave here and the interaction. There's one more part to this story, and that part is that when we are giving voice, when we are proclaiming, when we are expressing the living spiritual reality of the universal family of the God who loves us all, we're not just expressing ourselves, we're not just on stage before. There's a remarkable book that has inspired me in a number of ways. Of course, I don't agree. You show me a book, I won't agree with everything in it. Be Heard Now. Be Heard Now. Lee Glickstein. And Lee Glickstein's method to teaching public speaking is to practice in small groups, taking turns saying whatever comes to mind. And you have the other people in that small group, and their job is not to, nod their heads when they like it and give you feedback, but just to be there and love you, no matter what you say. In the first while for what you say, the first several meetings, a lot of stuff is coming up. But after the stuff comes up enough and the love is still happening, then the beautiful starts to come up. And the whole thing is that you realize that audience loves you. And as you realize a loving audience and begin to activate that and experience that before you start to speak, then all of a sudden it's a totally different ball game. So I haven't started with the method of Lee Glickstein to form a small group and start to practice this, but I'm thinking of God in each person, loving me, no matter what that person's, where the mind might be right now. And so somehow, as you realize that God is love, and God is in each person, and the God within that person is loving me as I speak, loving you as you speak, and in the interaction like that, then our work to express the living spiritual reality. I'm watching my time here. The living spiritual reality of the message, the saving message of Jesus, that becomes a spiritual reality that includes the real-time present experience of the other in their experience, where they are. May you ever be in love. Love is. Love is in us. And we are in love. Good day.